Welcome back, Hawks. Today's video will be about some commands that you'll need for the elliptical cam, okay, that we are looking at here on screen. You should already have a pretty good idea on how to draw and do dimensioning. This would be a good example to, again, effectively replicate. Make sure you use the correct leader dimensions. You should already know how to, and maybe we'll go to the black background and model space. You should already know how to put in center marks, as we've talked about that in a previous video. You should already know how to put in a hexagon or a polygon for that matter, as again that was discussed in a previous video. So the new stuff for this particular activity is going to start with, I'm going to select the object layer because I'm going to draw this ellipse. Okay, so ellipse command will be new today. There's technically two of them. Or I shouldn't say that. There's not two of them because this is technically not an ellipse arc. So here's how I would start. In the drop down here for circle, there's nothing there for an ellipse. There's nothing here under arc for an ellipse. But right over here underneath the rectangle command, we have three different options for drawing an ellipse. Okay, so let's take a look at our dimensions here. Oh, escape. We have a dimension here, which is 6.5 inches horizontal and 4.25 inches vertical. Let's go back up here to our options. So if I give it a center, and I go up half of the 4.25 and half of the 6.5, that should give me an ellipse. Let's try that. So I'm going to grab the center ellipse, and I'm going to just start it over here. I'm going to left click to start. And wants to know where the end point of the axis is. So let's try half of 6. Half of 6 is 3. Half of 0.5 is 0.25. So I want to do 3.25. So I'm just going to type that in. And I've got ortho on. Okay, I've got ortho on. And I'm just dragging my cursor out the direction that I'd be looking for that distance to go. So I'm going to hit enter. And now you can see that I'm trying to create an ellipse. And the next one is the other distance. And again, 4.25, so half of 4 is 2. Now half of 0.25 is 0.125, which is an eighth of an inch. So I'm going to go up 2.125. Again, I'm going to type that in, hit enter. And now I have an ellipse. Okay? Now, the next thing, which would be beneficial, is I'm going to draw in some construction lines. Now we've used those before. These are going to hopefully help me, and I'm going to do an XL construction line. XL enter, which is our X line, and I'm going to find, notice how it's helping me find the center of my ellipse. So if I'm thinking efficiently, I want to know where the middle of the ellipse is, both vertically and horizontally. So I'm going to put in those two lines. Okay, now that's going to help me find the center of these two circles, and I've effectively created this hidden line, which is really kind of showing us the center of this object. Okay, so if I wanted to make this start to look similar, I'm going to select my vertical line. I'm going to select the hidden option, hit escape to deselect. I'm going to select my horizontal one. I'm going to make that a center line. Okay, again, just so you can kind of see the orientation. Okay. Now, for the rest of these processes, you're going to be creating a circle here. So we're given a distance from that hidden line in the middle to the vertical center of both the circle and the polygon. Okay. So that one shouldn't be, let's just do this and get rid of this line so we're not being confused by it. So once I know where this vertical center is, if I offset that line the 1.5, that'll get me vertical, and here's a horizontal, so we'll get an intersection point. So drawing the circle and the polygon should not be really bad at all once you find this intersection point here. Okay? Very similar situation over here. If I know that 6.5 is half the distance, well, we already went over 3.25 to find this corner. So if I do some math, I can find out where this vertical center point is. And again, finding that intersection point will allow me to draw both this small circle and what is a partial circle here, which is concentric with the center of the circle. Concentric means they're sharing the same center point. Okay? Now here comes the fun. There's this big arc here and this big arc here. Now we're shown this dimension here, 3.62. That's a radius that originates up here at the intersection point between that vertical line and the outside of the ellipse. So there's one up above, and technically there's another center point down here. Okay, and that center point down at the bottom will help me create this arc. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to draw a circle, currently with a oh, I'm sorry. I gotta. What do I have here? Let's double check. I want a center point radius, and again, I'm going to put the center point right there, and the center of the radius is going to be 3.62. So I'm going to come up here, center 3.62. Type that in, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, there's one arc. We'll do the same thing down here, 3.62. There's my other arc. Okay, so I've just found the top edge right here and the bottom edge. Now, I also need this circle here. So let's see here. That was 0.75. I'll show you another trick. I'm going to do another construction line. Oh, XL. Another construction line from this endpoint, offset 0.75. I'm going to take that vertical line on the end and move it over 3/4 of an inch. So again, I found a center point here. I'm going to change to an object line, as I want to draw now a circle with a diameter of 0.5. So C for circle, center point, D for diameter, 0.5. That doesn't look right. What did I do here? 0.75. Let's double check something. Offset 0.75. Oh, it doesn't seem like it's taken my decimal. Offset 0.75. Take that line, offset it over. That's a diameter of 0.5. Let's try it again. Circle from that intersection point. D for diameter, 0.75. Oh, boy, goodness. I should probably start remembering what I'm doing here. Let's do this again. Center, circle, D for diameter, 0.5. Woo! Okay, that should have been on the object layer. I'm going to go back to the object layer because now I need to create this partial circle, or this circle, which is going to have a radius of 0.75. You can see, even I'm getting a little confused here. Radius versus diameter. So, radius is 0.75. There is, again, my partial circle. So now here comes, oh, you know what? I need this one over here. I guess I got to figure this one out too. So 1.5 offset, 0.5, offset this line over, and I'm going to do a circle from that intersection point. That circle is going to have a radius of 1.38. 1.38. Okay. So now comes the fun one. We haven't done this one yet. There's kind of a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this line because I know I don't need that anymore, at least not in a hidden line nature. And just for clarity, I'm going to get rid of that line right now. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of those two lines. So now we're left with basically only the things that I need. And what I have to create here is this radius, or technically circle, this one, or this partial one, this one here, and this one down here. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 circles that I need to draw, and these are drawn differently. Okay, so let's see if this will work out for me today. So we're going to get a circle, and this time we are going to do a new circle. So I need to use that drop down, and I'm going to be using the tangent radius circle. Okay, so we want to create circles that are tangent to two other things and then specify a radius. This one can be a little testy, so we'll see how well this goes. Okay, may see a couple of attempts here because it doesn't always work the way you think it's going to. So I'm going to select the tan radius circle. Okay, so again, tangent radius. So let's go back over here, and what I'm going to try to do first, let's double check here. I'm going to try to do one of these big circles. It's got a radius of 0.5, half-inch radius. So the command prompt is telling me to select the first point on a tangent circle. And that's going to be on this red circle, so I'm going to select there first. Now it asks me for the second tangency point, and that's going to be down here on this white line. And now it wants the radius. Let's go back and double check. 0.5. 0.5. Okay. Now, in the past, this AutoCAD would be kind of specific, like where my cursor was at. Okay, so I theoretically want the center of my circle to be in this general area. Now, it used to be if you hit Enter, it would draw the circle. Okay, and that seems to have worked out okay. Let's try that again. I'm going to hit Enter again to go back into my tangent. Oh, I didn't. It just went back to the circle command. I'm going to select this tangent radius. So again, I'm going to go tangent to the red circle, tangent to the white circle, and I'm going to go down in this general area where I want the center to be. You can also right-click on your mouse, and that should get you the same information, or the end of the command. Okay, and you do that again. This time I've got a radius of 0.25. So let's go back into the circle command, white, red, 0.25, hit Enter. That seems to be working out for me, and we'll do it one more time. Tangent radius, one there, one there. Again, I'm in the habit of keeping the cursor where I want the center to be. I don't want it to be out here. I want it to be in this general area. So I'm going to right click, and we've got all of those arcs to come in nicely. Okay, so now we have to go back through, and I'm going to do some trimming. Okay, because there's a lot of extra stuff here. So oh my goodness, trim. I don't need that portion of the white line. I don't need that portion of that circle, or that one. And down in here, let's see, I get rid of the inner circles there. The white goes away there and there. And technically, the rest of this circle goes away. Okay. Now, here's something to pay very close attention to. It's relatively common sometimes for students to not notice little things like this. See, I have this little portion of the circle here that was left over from trimming. Make sure you take a look at that stuff, Hawks. It is somewhat common for students to kind of miss those little details. Also, as you're drawing, make sure you have the correct layers. I've been seeing some people using the border layer instead of the object layer. They are set to print at different line, what they call weight. So the thickness of this line when you print it will be different. Okay. In fact, let me highlight that, because again, might not be happening the year watching this, but we'll see. Let's go to our A size print. I'm going to move this, bring our other one over, and if I do a print preview, so I'm going to do print, and I'm going to specify our printer. It should be a V122. Let's see if I get the right one. Is it this one? Maybe it's that one. All right. And I'm just going to hit preview. You see how much thicker the outside ellipse is compared to the inner lines. And that's why, again, this is a border line around the outside, and it's much closer in thickness to the border on our piece of paper. Okay, so you can't kind of really tell until you zoom in, but there is a definite difference in thickness. So pay attention to little things like that, Hawks. And as far as I am concerned, that's about the only new stuff you should need to know on this activity. So we learned about how to do an ellipse tool and a tangent radius circle. Okay, catch you on the next video, Hawks. Have a good one.